The sound echoed through the quiet morning air like a gunshot. Crack! Layla Foster felt her lifeline break in two. The white cane that had been her eyes for the past 7 years now hung limp in her hand, snapped clean through the middle. She stood frozen on the sidewalk, her heart pounding so hard she could hear in her ears. "Please," she whispered, her voice shaking. "That's my cane. I need it to see." Officer Samuel Ortiz stood over her, his heavy boots planted wide on the concrete. In his thick hands, he held the other half of her cane. He looked down at the broken piece, like it was nothing more than a stick he'd picked up off the ground. "Should have moved when I told you to," he said, his voice cold and flat. Layla's fingers trembled as they gripped the useless half of her cane. Without it, the world around her was just darkness and confusing sounds. She couldn't tell how far away the street was. She couldn't find the building entrance she'd been searching for. She was lost, standing right where she'd been moments before. "I didn't hear you, sir," Layla said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm blind. I was just trying to—" "I don't care what you were trying to do." Ortiz cut her off. "You were blocking the sidewalk. I gave you a warning." But he hadn't. Layla knew he hadn't. She'd been standing there for maybe 30 seconds, her cane sweeping the ground in front of her, trying to find the door to the medical building where she had an appointment. The morning had been normal until his rough hand grabbed her shoulder and spun her around. She'd asked what was wrong. He demanded she move. She'd explained she was blind and looking for the entrance. And then he grabbed her cane and snapped it like a twig. Around them, people had stopped to watch. Layla could hear their footsteps pause. She could feel their eyes on her. But nobody said anything. Nobody helped. "You can't just break my cane," Layla said, anger mixing with her fear now. That's wrong. I need that." "What you need," Ortiz said, stepping closer, "is to learn some respect. Maybe this'll teach you to listen. When an officer gives you an order—" He dropped the broken half of the cane at her feet. Layla heard it clatter on the concrete, but couldn't see where it landed. Her whole body was shaking now. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. "I'm going to report this," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Ortiz laughed. "It was a mean sound, sharp and cruel. Go ahead. Report it. See if anybody believes you." That's when Layla heard it, a new sound cutting through her fear and confusion. Click, click, click. Someone was taking pictures, or maybe recording video. The clicking came again and again, each sound making Ortiz's breathing change. She heard him shift his weight, heard the leather of his belt creak as he turned. "Hey!" Ortiz shouted. "What do you think you're doing?" "Just taking a walk," a woman's voice answered. She sounded young, maybe in her 20s, and she didn't sound scared at all. "Beautiful morning, isn't it, officer?" "Delete that," Ortiz demanded. "Right now." "Delete what?" the woman said innocently. "I'm just out here enjoying the sunshine. Is that illegal?" Layla's heart raced faster. Someone had seen what happened. Someone had proof. Ortiz's radio crackled to life. A voice buzzed through, calling his number. He grabbed it from his belt, but before he could answer, the woman spoke again. "You know," she said, "I think my video just finished uploading to the cloud. Isn't technology amazing? Even if you took my phone right now, it's already backed up online." The silence that followed felt heavy enough to crush Layla. She could almost feel Ortiz's anger radiating off him in waves. His breathing got faster, louder. "This isn't over," he finally said. Layla couldn't tell if he was talking to her or the woman with the phone. His boots stomped away, each step making the sidewalk vibrate beneath Layla's feet. She stood there alone, or maybe not alone, still clutching half of her broken cane. "Are you okay?" the woman asked, her voice closer now, gentler. Layla wanted to answer. She wanted to say thank you. She wanted to ask for help. But all she could do was stand there, tears streaming down her face, as the morning sun warmed her skin. She had no idea that in 3 hours, that video would have 10,000 views. In 6 hours, it would have 1 million. And Officer Samuel Ortiz? His phone was about to start ringing. And when he answered it, his entire world would begin to fall apart. But that was still to come. Right now, in this moment, Layla just wanted to find a wall to lean against, somewhere to sit down before her legs gave out completely. "Let me help you," the woman said. "My name's Patricia. Can I call someone for you?" Layla nodded, not trusting her voice. Behind them, across the street, a black car with tinted windows sat idling at the curb. Inside, someone else had been watching the whole thing unfold. Someone who knew exactly who Layla Foster was. Someone who'd been looking for her for a very long time, and now they'd found her. Patricia Chun was not the kind of person who looked for trouble. But when trouble found her, she didn't run away from it either. She'd been on her way to grab coffee before work when she saw the whole thing happen. At first, she thought maybe she was seeing it wrong. Maybe the officer was helping the woman with the white cane. Maybe there was some explanation that made sense. But then she heard the crack, and she saw the way he threw the broken piece on the ground. And she knew exactly what she was watching. Her phone was out and recording before she even thought about it. Now, sitting in the coffee shop with Layla, Patricia watched the video play on her screen for the 100th time. Each time she saw it, she got angrier. "Drink some water," Patricia said gently, pushing a bottle across the table to Layla. Layla's hands found the bottle, still shaking. Her friend Marcus. No, wait. Her friend David had arrived 20 minutes ago to pick her up. He sat beside her now, his face tight with anger. "I can't believe this happened," David said. His voice was low and hard. "I can't believe he just broke your cane." "Believe it," Patricia said. She turned her phone around. "Because I got the whole thing on video. And I already posted online." "You what?" Layla's head lifted, turning toward Patricia's voice. "I posted it," Patricia repeated. "On every social media site I have. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Everywhere." She paused. "I hope that's okay. I got so angry. People need to see this." Layla was quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Thank you for recording it, for being there." "The video already has over 5,000 views," Patricia said, checking her phone again. "And that was just 10 minutes ago. Now it's, wait." Her eyes went wide. "Now it's at 15,000. David leaned over to look. "It's going viral," he whispered. Patricia's phone started buzzing. Then it started ringing. She looked at the screen and saw messages pouring in, dozens of them, then hundreds. "Oh my God," she said. "People are sharing it everywhere." One message caught her eye. It was from someone named Jennifer Martinez, who said she was a reporter for the local news station. She wanted to interview Patricia and Layla. There were 3 more messages from other reporters after that. "The news wants to talk to us." Patricia said that Layla's face went pale. "I don't know if I can." "You don't have to do anything you don't want to do," David said quickly, putting his hand on her shoulder. "Nobody's going to force you." But even as he said it, they all knew the truth. This wasn't something that would just go away. The video was out there now. The world was watching. Patricia's phone rang again. This time, the caller ID said, "Police Department." Her stomach dropped. "It's the police," she said. "Don't answer it," David warned. But Patricia was already sliding her finger across the screen. "Hello? Is this Patricia Chun?" a man's voice asked. He sounded official. "Serious?" "Yes. This is Captain Richard Hayes from the Metropolitan Police Department. I understand you witnessed and recorded an incident this morning involving one of our officers." Patricia's heart hammered in her chest. "Yes, I did. I'd like to speak with you about that. Would you be willing to come to the station?" "Am I in trouble?" Patricia asked. There was a pause. "No, ma'am. You're not in trouble. We just need to get your statement and see the video footage you recorded." "I already have the video online," Patricia said. "You can see it there." Another pause, longer this time. "I'm aware, but we need the original file. For our investigation." Investigation. The word hung in the air like smoke. "What kind of investigation?" Patricia pressed. "Miss Chun, one of our officers has been accused of destroying a disabled woman's mobility device. That's a very serious accusation. We take these matters seriously." "Good." Patricia said, because what I saw was serious. Your officer broke a blind woman's cane and left her stranded on the sidewalk. I understand you're upset, Captain Hayes said, and you have every right to be. That's why we want to investigate this properly. Can you come in today? Patricia looked at Layla, who was listening intently even though she could only hear one side of the conversation. I'll come in, Patricia said, but only if Layla Foster can come with me, the woman in the video. She deserves to be heard too. Of course, Captain Hayes said. We'll need to speak with her as well. Can you both come in at 2 o'clock this afternoon? Patricia checked the time. It was barely 10 in the morning. We'll be there. She hung up and immediately told Layla and David everything. I don't trust this, David said. They're probably just trying to protect their own. Maybe, Patricia admitted. But if we don't go, they'll say we weren't cooperative, that we were making it up. Layla's jaw tightened. I'll go. I want to look them in the eye. She stopped, laughing bitterly. Well, I can't look them in the eye, can I? But I want to be there. I want them to hear what happened for me. Patricia's phone buzzed again. She looked down and gasped. What? David asked. The video, Patricia said slowly. It has 500,000 views now. They all sat in silence, letting that number sink in. Across town, in a small apartment that smelled like old coffee and cigarettes, Officer Samuel Ortiz stared at his own phone screen. He'd been watching the video for the past 20 minutes, watching himself break that woman's cane over and over again. How had this happened? How had he been so stupid? He told himself he'd been having a bad morning. His wife had yelled at him before he left for work. His captain had chewed him out the day before for being late on his paperwork. He'd been on edge, angry at the world. And then there was that woman, just standing there on the sidewalk, blocking the way. He'd told her to move. At least, he thought he'd told her to move. Maybe he'd just thought it. Maybe he'd been angrier than he realized. But breaking her cane? He didn't even remember making that decision. His hands had just done it. His phone rang. It was Captain Hayes. Ortiz let it ring 3 times before he answered. Yes, sir. Get to the station. Now. The captain's voice could have frozen fire. We need to talk. Sir, I can explain. Save it. Just get here. And Ortiz, the captain paused. Bring your badge. The line went dead. Ortiz sat there, his hand gripping the phone so hard his knuckles turned white. Bring your badge. Everyone knew what that meant. He stood up and walked to his dresser, where his badge sat next to his wallet and keys. He picked it up, feeling the weight of it in his palm. He'd been a cop for 12 years. 12 years of service. And now it might all be over because of one stupid mistake. He wanted to be angry at the woman who'd recorded him. He wanted to be angry at Layla Foster for being on that sidewalk. He wanted to be angry at anyone but himself. But deep down, in a place he didn't like to look, he knew the truth. This was all his fault. Meanwhile, back in the coffee shop, Patricia's phone rang again. This time, it was a number she didn't recognize with a New York area code. Hello, she answered cautiously. Is this Patricia Chun? A woman's voice asked. The woman who posted the video of the police officer? Yes. My name is Amanda Cole. I'm a civil rights attorney in New York. I've been watching your video, and I think I can help. Is Layla Foster with you right now? Patricia's eyes widened. Yes, she is. Good. Don't let her go to the police station without a lawyer. They're going to try to control the narrative. Make this go away quietly. But this doesn't need to go away quietly. This needs to be heard. Can I speak with her? Patricia handed the phone to Layla. It's a lawyer. She wants to help you. Layla took the phone with trembling hands. Hello. As she listened to Amanda Cole speak, something changed in her face. The fear and sadness that had been there all morning slowly transformed into something else. Determination. Yes, Layla said into the phone. Yes, I want to press charges. I want justice. David squeezed her shoulder, proud. Patricia felt something shift in the air around them. This wasn't just about a broken cane anymore. This was about something bigger. Something that had been broken for a lot longer than one morning. And maybe, just maybe, they were about to fix it. Outside the coffee shop window, that same black car with tinted windows sat parked across the street. The person inside watched the three people through the glass, talking and planning. They picked up their phone and made a call. "I found her," they said when someone answered. "Layla Foster. And you're not going to believe what just happened to her." The police station felt cold. That was the first thing Layla noticed when David helped her through the doors at exactly 2 o'clock. The air conditioning was turned up too high, and it made goosebumps rise on her arms. The second thing she noticed was the silence. The moment they walked in, all the conversation stopped. She could feel people staring at her. "It's going to be okay," David whispered, his hand steady on her elbow. Patricia walked on her other side, and behind them came Amanda Cole, the lawyer who'd flown in from New York on the first flight she could catch. Amanda had met them outside the station 30 minutes ago, carrying a leather briefcase and wearing confidence like armor. "Remember," Amanda said quietly, "don't answer anything without me present. And if I tell you to stop talking, you stop." "Understood." "Understood," Layla said. A officer approached them. "Miss Foster? I'm Officer Thompson. Captain Hayes is ready to see you now." They followed Thompson through a maze of hallways. Layla counted the turns in her head, a habit she developed since losing her sight. Left, right, right again, straight for 20 steps. It helped her feel less lost. Finally, they stopped. A door opened. "Miss Foster, please come in," a deep voice said. "You can bring your lawyer, but the others will need to wait outside." "I'm coming in too," Patricia said firmly. "I'm the witness." "We'll take your statements separately," Captain Hayes said. "No." Amanda's voice cut through the room like a knife. "Mission stays with us, or we leave right now. Your choice, Captain." There was a long pause. Layla heard Captain Hayes shift his weight, heard his chair creak. "Fine," he said finally. "Everyone come in." The office smelled like old paper and coffee that had been sitting too long. Layla felt Amanda guide her to a chair, and she sat down carefully. "Can I get you anything?" Captain Hayes asked. "Water? Coffee?" "We're fine," Amanda said. "Let's just get started." "Of course." Papers rustled. "Miss Foster, I want to start by saying how sorry I am for what happened to you this morning. What Officer Ortiz did was completely unacceptable." Layla's eyebrows went up. She hadn't expected an apology. Not this fast. Not this easy. "Thank you," she said carefully. "Officer Ortiz has been placed on administrative leave while we investigate," Captain Hayes continued. "He'll be off the streets until we determine what disciplinary action is appropriate." "Administrative leave?" Patricia's voice was sharp. "That's it? He assaulted a disabled woman." "I understand your frustration," Captain Hayes said, "but we have procedures we need to follow. We can't just fire an officer without a proper investigation." "You have a video?" Patricia shot back. "What more do you need to investigate? It's all right there." "The video shows what happened," Captain Hayes admitted, "but we need to understand the full context. We need to interview witnesses, review Officer Ortiz's record, follow protocol." "Protocol," Patricia repeated, her voice dripping with anger. "Is that what you call it when one of your officers breaks a blind woman's cane and leaves her helpless on the street?" "Miss Chun." "How long?" Amanda interrupted. "How long will this investigation take?" Captain Hayes hesitated. "These things typically take several weeks, maybe a month." "A month?" Layla said quietly. Everyone turned to her. "A month while he gets paid to sit at home, while I have to buy a new cane and live with what he did to me. Miss Foster, I assure you, we're taking this very seriously." "Are you?" Layla's voice was stronger now, "because it doesn't feel serious. It feels like you're protecting him." "That's not what's happening here," Captain Hayes said, but his voice had an edge to it now. He was getting defensive. Amanda leaned forward. "Captain Hayes, let me be very clear about something. My client has grounds to file a federal civil rights lawsuit against Officer Ortiz and this entire department. What happened this morning wasn't just destruction of property. It was a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. It was assault. And depending on how this investigation goes, it could be evidence of a pattern of discrimination within your department. The room went very quiet. Are you threatening me? Captain Hayes asked slowly. I'm informing you, Amanda said calmly. My client deserves justice. Real justice. Not a slap on the wrist, and a few weeks of paid vacation for the officer who hurt her. Layla heard Captain Hayes take a deep breath. What do you want? I want Officer Ortiz fired, Layla said before Amanda could answer. I want him to never wear a badge again. And I want an apology. A real one. Not just word in an office, but a public apology. I can't promise any of that until the investigation is complete, Captain Hayes said. Then we have nothing more to discuss, Amanda said, standing up. Come on, we're leaving. Wait, Captain Hayes said quickly. Just wait. Sit back down. Please. Amanda didn't move. Give me a reason to. Captain Hayes was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different. Tired. Almost sad. Officer Ortiz has had complaint before, he said finally. 3 of them in the past 2 years. All from black citizens. All claiming he was aggressive, disrespectful. We investigated each one, but there was never enough evidence. No video. Just word against word. Layla felt her stomach turn. So, you knew he was a problem. We suspected, Captain Hayes admitted, but suspecting and proving are 2 different things. Until today, we couldn't prove anything. 3 complaints, Patricia said. 3 people tried to tell you, and you did nothing. We did what we could with what we had, Captain Hayes said, but he didn't sound like he believed it himself. Amanda sat back down slowly. So what happens now? Now! Captain Hayes pulled out a folder. Now I need your full statements. Everything you saw, everything you heard. And Miss Foster, I need to know if Officer Ortiz has ever stopped you before. Layla froze. What? Has he ever stopped you before today? Captain Hayes repeated. Ever pulled you over, asked for ID, anything like that? I don't drive, Layla said. I'm blind. I know, but have you ever encountered him on the street? Before today. Layla thought back, trying to remember. The faces of police officers all blurred together in her memory, back when she could still see. After she lost her sight 7 years ago, she'd learned to recognize people by their voices instead. And Ortiz's voice, her blood ran cold. Yes, she whispered. About 3 months ago, I was waiting for the bus, and an officer asked to see my ID. Said someone matching my description had been reported for trespassing. I showed him my ID. Explained I was just waiting for the bus. He kept me there for 20 minutes, asking questions, making me miss my bus. Did he give you his name? Amanda asked. No, but his voice, it was the same. I'm sure of it now. Captain Hayes wrote something down. Did he do anything else? Touch you, threaten you? Layla shook her head. No, he just wasted my time. Made me feel like I'd done something wrong when I hadn't. Patricia's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and gasped. The video has 3 million views now. And oh my God. What? David asked. There's a protest, Patricia said, her voice shaking. People are organizing a protest outside this police station. Right now. There are already hundreds of people out there. Captain Hayes stood up and walked to his window. Layla heard him pull back the blinds. She's right, he said quietly. They're out front, with signs. Layla could hear it now, too. Through the walls, through the windows, she could hear the chanting. Justice for Layla. Fire Ortiz now. Justice for Layla. Fire Ortiz now. Her name. They were chanting her name. This is bigger than you now, Amanda said to Captain Hayes. This isn't just about one officer and one incident. This is about every person of color who's been mistreated by police. Every disabled person who's been made to feel less than human. You can't make this go away quietly. Captain Hayes turned away from the window. I never wanted to make it go away. I want to do the right thing. Then do it, Layla said. Fire him. Today. I can't. Yes, you can, Amanda interrupted. You're the captain. You have the authority to terminate employment for gross misconduct. We both know what he did qualifies. The union will fight it, Captain Hayes said. Let them fight, Amanda said. Let everyone see and defend a man who assaulted a blind woman. Outside, the chanting grew louder. More people were joining. The crowd was growing. Captain Hayes rubbed his face with both hands. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in the last hour. Give me 24 hours, he said finally. I need to talk to the chief, get the union rep in here. Make sure we do this by the book. But I promise you, Officer Samuel Ortiz will not be working for this department after tomorrow. Not good enough, Amanda said. It's the best I can do, Captain Hayes said. I'm trying to help you here, but I have rules I have to follow too. Layla felt Amanda's hand on her shoulder. What do you think? Amanda asked. It's your choice. Layla sat there, listening to the crowd outside chanting her name. People she'd never met, fighting for her, standing up for her. She thought about the other 3 people who complained about Ortiz, the ones who hadn't been believed, the ones who didn't have video proof. She thought about every person who'd ever been treated badly by someone in power and couldn't do anything about it. 24 hours, she said. But I want it in writing. I want a guarantee that he'll be fired, not just transferred or suspended. Captain Hayes nodded. You'll have it. And I want to speak to those other 3 people who complained about Ortiz, Layla added. I want to hear their stories. I'm not sure I can give you their names, Captain Hayes said. Privacy laws. Then ask them if they'll speak to me, Layla said firmly. Tell them what happened today. Ask them if they want to be part of this. Captain Hayes looked at Amanda, who nodded. That's reasonable, Amanda said. Fine, Captain Hayes agreed. I'll reach out to them. Patricia's phone buzzed again. She looked at it, and her face went pale. What now? David asked. Patricia's voice was barely a whisper. There's another video. Someone else posted another video of Ortiz from 2 years ago. He's doing the same thing, grabbing someone's cane. An elderly white man this time. The room went completely silent. Show me, Captain Hayes said. Patricia handed him her phone. They all waited while he watched the video, his face getting darker and darker. When it ended, he set the phone down very carefully on his desk. I'll need to see that video, too, he said quietly, for the investigation. But they all knew what this meant. This wasn't one bad morning. This wasn't Ortiz having a bad day. This was who he was. Outside the police station, the crowd had grown to over 1,000 people. They held signs that read, "Disabled rights are human rights," and "No badge above the law," and "We see you, Layla." In the middle of that crowd stood a woman in her 60s with silver hair and dark glasses. She held a sign that said, "Ortiz broke my cane too, 2019. She was one of the 3 people who complained about Ortiz before. One of the people who hadn't been believed. But she was being believed now. And she wasn't alone anymore. Back in the police station, in a different office down the hall, Samuel Ortiz sat across from his union representative. His badge sat on the desk between them. They're going to fire me, he said. His rep, a man named Frank who'd been doing this job for 20 years, shook his head. They're going to try, but we'll fight it. We always fight it. Did you see the videos? Ortiz asked. Both of them. Frank nodded slowly. Then you know I'm done, Ortiz said. Even if you save my job here, I'm done. Nobody's ever going to forget this. Frank didn't argue. He couldn't. Ortiz stood up and walked to the window. He could see the protesters outside, hear their chants even through the thick glass. I don't even remember doing it, he said quietly. The first video, 2 years ago. I don't remember that man or his cane. It's like it never happened. Then maybe it didn't happen the way they're saying, Frank offered. But Ortiz shook his head. No, it happened. I know it did, because I remember the feeling. I remember being angry. I remember wanting to punish someone for being in my way, for existing wrong. He turned to face Frank. I'm not a good person, he said. I thought I was. I told myself I was just doing my job, keeping people safe. But that's not what I was doing. I was hurting people. People who never did anything to me. Frank didn't know what to say to that. Ortiz picked up his badge and held it up to the light. 12 years I wore this. 12 years I thought it made me better than other people. Made me special. He set it back down on the desk with a soft click. Tell the captain he doesn't need to wait 24 hours. Ortiz said, I quit. Frank's eyes went wide. What? No, don't do that. Let us fight this. Once you quit, you lose everything. Your pension, your benefits. I don't deserve those things, Ortiz said simply. Not after what I did. Not after what I've been doing for years, without even realizing it. He walked to the door, then stopped and looked back at Frank. Make sure Layla Foster gets this message, he said. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her she was right to report me. And tell her I hope she gets the justice she deserves. Because she does deserve it. And I don't. Then he walked out, leaving his badge behind on the desk like a piece of trash he didn't want any more. The meeting room at the police station felt different 3 hours later. Captain Hayes had arranged it quickly, making phone calls and pulling strings. Now, Layla sat at a long table with Amanda on one side and David on the other. Patricia stood by the door, still recording everything on her phone just in case. Across from them sat 3 people Layla had never met. Thank you all for coming, Captain Hayes said. I know this wasn't easy. The first person to speak was an elderly man. His voice shook slightly when he talked. My name is Henry Thompson, he said. I'm 73 years old. 2 years ago, Officer Ortiz broke my cane on 5th Street. Just snapped it in half because I was, as he said, blocking the sidewalk. I filed a complaint, but nothing happened. They said there wasn't enough proof. Layla felt her throat tighten. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I saw your video this morning, Henry continued, and I cried, not because I was sad, but because finally, someone had proof. Someone could show the world what he did. The second person was a young woman. Her voice was strong and clear. I'm Rachel Kim, she said. I'm 28. Last year, Ortiz pulled me over for driving suspiciously. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just driving home from work. He made me get out of the car, made me wait on the side of the road for 40 minutes while he searched my car. He didn't find anything because there was nothing to find. When I complained, they said he was just doing his job. But he wasn't, Layla said quietly. He was targeting you. Because I'm Asian, Rachel said. That's what I think. He saw my face and decided I didn't belong here. The third person cleared his throat. His voice was deep and tired. Thomas, right, he said. Layla smiled slightly at his near slip with a forbidden name. I'm 45. 3 months ago, Ortiz stopped me while I was jogging in my own neighborhood. Said someone reported a suspicious person. I lived there for 10 years. I showed him my ID with my address on it. He still made me prove I lived there by describing my house, my neighbors, everything, like I was a criminal in my own neighborhood. Let me guess, Patricia said from the door. You're black. Yes, Thomas said simply. Captain Hayes shifted in his seat. Layla could hear how uncomfortable he was. I owe all of you an apology, the captain said. We failed you. We didn't listen when you tried to tell us something was wrong. We protected one of our own instead of protecting you. Words are nice, Rachel said, her voice sharp now. But what are you going to do? Officer Ortiz resigned an hour ago, Captain Hayes said. The room exploded with reactions. He quit. Henry's voice rose. So he gets to walk away? No punishment? No consequences. That's not justice. Rachel added, Wait. Amanda held up her hand. Let the captain finish. Captain Hayes took a deep breath. He quit before we could fire him. But that doesn't mean he's getting away with this. We're still investigating all the complaints against him, and we're filing a report with the state licensing board. If they revoke his certification, he can never be a police officer anywhere again. If, Thomas repeated, if they revoke it, I can't make promises about what another agency will do, Captain Hayes said. But I can promise you this. We're going to give them every piece of evidence we have. Every complaint, every video, everything. Layla felt Amanda squeeze her hand under the table. There's more, Amanda said. Tell them, Captain. Captain Hayes cleared his throat again. We're also opening an internal investigation into how these complaints were handled, why they were dismissed, who made those decisions, if there are other officers who've been protecting Ortiz, or there are systemic problems in how we handle discrimination complaints. We're going to find out. And fix them? Henry asked. And fix them? Captain Hayes agreed. Patricia's phone buzzed. She looked at it, and her eyes went wide. The news is here, she said. Outside. Like every news station in the city. They want to interview all of you. Layla felt her stomach flip. All of us. You don't have to, Amanda said quickly. None of you have to talk to the press if you don't want to. I want to, Rachel said immediately. I want everyone to know what he did. Me too, Thomas said. Henry was quiet for a moment. I'm an old man, he said finally. I don't like cameras or attention. But if my story can help stop this from happening to someone else, then yes, I'll talk. Everyone looked at Layla. She sat there, feeling the weight of their eyes on her. Outside, she could still hear the protesters chanting. Thousands of people supporting her, fighting for her. But it wasn't just about her anymore. It was about Henry and Rachel and Thomas. It was about everyone who'd ever been hurt by someone with power who abused it. I'll do it, Layla said. I'll talk to them. Amanda smiled. Then let's go change the world. They all stood up and walked toward the door. But before they left the room, Henry spoke again. Miss Foster, he said, thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to stand up. Thank you for making them listen. I didn't do it alone, Layla said, turning toward his voice. Patricia recorded it. Amanda flew here to help me. David stayed by my side. And you three, you already tried to speak up. You were brave first. But nobody listened to us, Rachel said softly. I'm listening now, Layla said, and so is the world. They walked out of the police station together, all four victims of Officer Ortiz's abuse, all four finally being heard. The camera flashes started immediately. Reporters shouted questions. Microphones appeared from every direction. But Amanda stepped forward first, her voice cutting through the chaos. We have a statement, she said, and then my clients will answer some questions. The crowd quieted down. Today, we've learned that Officer Samuel Ortiz has resigned from the police force. Amanda began. But resignation is not justice. We're calling on the state to revoke his law enforcement certification permanently. We're also calling on this police department to review every arrest, every stop, every interaction Ortiz has had in his 12 years as an officer. How many other people did he hurt? How many other lives did he damage? She paused, letting the words sink in. This isn't just about one bad officer, Amanda continued. This is about a system that protected him for years despite multiple complaints. This is about changing that system so it never happens again. Then she stepped aside, and Layla moved forward. Someone handed her a microphone. She held it carefully, feeling its weight in her hand. My name is Layla Foster, she said, her voice steady and strong. This morning, a police officer broke my white cane and left me helpless on the street. But I'm not helpless anymore. None of us are, because we have each other, and we have the truth. The crowd erupted in cheers. Layla smiled, feeling the sun warm on her face, feeling the support of thousands of people around her. She couldn't see them, but she could feel them, and that was enough. 6 months later, Layla stood in front of the city council building, her new white cane steady in her hand. This one was better than her old one, stronger, with a better grip. The disability rights organization that had rallied behind her had made sure she got the best. But it wasn't just a cane anymore. It was a symbol. Are you ready? Amanda asked beside her. Layla nodded. I'm ready. Inside the building, the council chamber was packed. Every seat was filled. People lined the walls. The local news had 3 cameras set up in the back. Layla walked to front with Amanda, David, Patricia, Henry, Rachel, and Thomas following behind her. They'd become a family over these past months, bonded by shared pain, united by the fight for justice. The city council will now hear from Miss Layla Foster, the council president announced. Layla stood at the microphone. She'd practiced this speech 100 times, but her heart still hammered in her chest. 6 months ago, she began, a police officer broke my white cane and changed my life, but not in the way he intended. She paused, gathering her thoughts. He meant to make me feel small, powerless, invisible, but instead, he did the opposite. He showed me in the world that there are people who will abuse their power, and he showed me that there are millions more who will stand up against that abuse. In the audience, people nodded. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Since that day, things have changed, Layla continued. The state revoked Samuel Ortiz's law enforcement certification. He can never be a police officer again, anywhere in this country. The police department has instituted new training on disability rights and implicit bias. They created an independent review board to investigate complaints against officers. She smiled slightly. But we're not done. We can't be done. Because Ortiz wasn't the only problem. He was just the one who got caught. The room was silent now, everyone hanging on her words. That's why we're here today, Layla said, to ask you, the city council, to pass the Fair Treatment Act. This law would require all city employees, not just police officers, to complete training on disability rights, racial equity, and de-escalation. It would create real consequences for discrimination, and it would ensure that when someone files a complaint, they're actually heard. Council member Jessica Brennan leaned forward. Miss Foster, some people say this law goes too far, that it unfairly targets police officers and city workers. Layla turned toward the voice. Councilmember Brennan, with respect, how can protecting people's rights go too far? How can holding public servants accountable for their actions be unfair? I'm not saying I disagree, Brennan said quickly. I'm just telling you what the opposition is saying. Then let me address the opposition directly, Layla said, her voice stronger now. If you're a good officer, a good city employee who treats people with respect, this law doesn't hurt you. It protects you. It protects the reputation of good officers by weeding out the bad ones. It makes everyone safer. Patricia started clapping from the audience. Then David joined. Then Henry, Rachel, and Thomas. Within seconds, the entire room was applauding. The council president banged his gavel. Order, please. When the room quieted, another council member spoke. This was Michael Santos, the youngest member of the council. Miss Foster, he said, I want you to know that I support this law completely. And I think I speak for most of my colleagues when I say that what happened to you should never happen to anyone else. Thank you, Layla said softly. But I have a question, Michael continued. What do you say to people who think this is just about revenge? About punishing one bad officer? Layla was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke, and her words were measured and clear. This was never about revenge, she said. Revenge doesn't heal anything. This is about justice. About making sure the next person who gets hurt has a voice. About creating a world where people with disabilities, people of color, anyone who's different, where we're all treated with basic human dignity. She paused. Samuel Ortiz hurt me. But you know what hurt more? Knowing that 3 other people had already complained about him and nothing was done. Knowing that if Patricia hadn't recorded that video, I probably wouldn't have been believed either. That's what this is about. Making sure everyone is believed. Everyone is heard. Everyone matters. The room erupted in applause again, louder this time. The council president didn't try to stop it. He waited until it died down naturally. Does anyone else wish to speak? He asked. Henry stood up, his elderly frame straightening with dignity. I do. He walked to the microphone slowly, his own cane tapping against the floor. I'm 73 years old, he said. I've lived in this city my entire life. I've seen a lot of changes, some good, some bad, but I've never seen anything like what I've seen these past 6 months. I've never seen a community come together like this. Young and old, black and white and Asian and Latino, disabled and able-bodied, all fighting for the same thing, justice. His voice cracked slightly. I thought I was too old to make a difference anymore. But Layla showed me I was wrong. We're never too old, too young, too anything to stand up for what's right. He looked at the council members. Pass this law. Do the right thing. Make my city proud. More applause. More tears. Rachel spoke next, then Thomas. Each of them sharing their stories, their pain, their hope. Finally, the council president called for a vote. All in favor of the Fair Treatment Act. One by one, hands went up. Layla couldn't see them, but she could hear Amanda counting quietly beside her. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. All 9 council members voted yes. The Fair Treatment Act passed unanimously. The room exploded with celebration. People hugged, cried, cheered. Layla felt Amanda grab her in a tight embrace, then David, then Patricia. We did it, Patricia whispered. We actually did it. No, Layla said, smiling through her tears. We all did it. Together. Outside the council building an hour later, Layla stood with her friends as reporters asked final questions. How does it feel to win? One reporter asked. Layla thought about that word. Win. It feels like a beginning, she said finally. Not an ending. There's still so much work to do. So many systems to change. So many people still fighting for justice. What's next for you? Another reporter asked. Layla smiled. I'm going back to school. I'm going to study law. Because we need more people fighting for justice. More voices in the system. And I'll be right there with her, Rachel added. I'm applying to law school too. Patricia raised her phone. And I'm starting a nonprofit to help people document police interactions safely. To make sure everyone has the proof they need. The reporter turned to Henry. And you, sir? What are your plans? Henry chuckled. I'm going to enjoy my retirement. But I'll be watching. Making sure this law actually gets enforced. Making sure my city keeps its promise. As the interviews wrapped up, that black car with tinted windows pulled up to the curb nearby. It had been following Layla on and off for months, always watching, never approaching. But today, the door opened. A woman in her 50s stepped out. She had Layla's same warm brown skin, the same high cheekbones, the same graceful way of moving. She walked straight up to Layla. Excuse me, she said softly. Layla Foster? Layla turned toward the voice, her heart suddenly racing. There was something familiar about it, something that pulled at memories she thought she'd buried. Yes, Layla said. The woman's voice broke. Baby girl, it's me. It's your mama. Layla froze. The world seemed to stop spinning. What? She whispered. I know I don't deserve to be here, her mother said, tears streaming down her face. I know I left you when you were 16. I know I wasn't there when you lost your sight. I know I'm the worst mother in the world. But I saw that video 6 months ago, and I had to find you. I had to know you were okay. Layla's hands trembled. 15 years. It had been 15 years since her mother walked out. I don't, Layla started, but couldn't finish. Her mother, Jennifer Foster, reached out hesitantly, then pulled her hand back. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. I needed you to know I'm proud of you. So proud. You're stronger than I ever was. David put his hand on Layla's shoulder, protective. Do you want to ask her to leave? He whispered. Layla stood there, her mind racing. Part of her wanted to scream at this woman who'd abandoned her. Part of her wanted to collapse into her arms. But mostly, she just felt tired. Not here, Layla said finally. Not now. But maybe we can talk. Someday. Maybe. Jennifer nodded, fresh tears falling. That's more than I deserve. Thank you, baby. Thank you. She pressed a piece of paper into Layla's hand, probably her phone number, and then walked back to her car. Layla stood there, holding the paper, feeling the weight of the past and the hope of the future all tangled up inside her. You okay? Amanda asked gently. Layla took a deep breath. I will be, she said, one day at a time. She lifted her cane and started walking, her friends falling into step beside her. Behind them, the sun was setting over the city. A new day was ending. But for Layla Foster, for Henry and Rachel and Thomas, for Patricia and Amanda and David, for all of them, a new day was just beginning. A day where justice was possible. A day where voices were heard. A day where broken things could be made whole again, one step at a time.